Good morning, guys. Man, need more coffee. It's all this smoke out here. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Somebody say good morning, sunshine. Good morning. Welcome to Shaggy's Consulting and Training. As always, it's like you're starting out today drinking coffee. It's like starts me up. Sometimes I forget when I'm drinking coffee that I need to drink water. I'm getting my voice back. Kind of losing it. It's always like this in the morning. We should have some special guests coming by. Maybe I won't do a show this morning. I don't know. So, guys, I wanted to come on and let you guys know I'm getting a lot of calls, and a lot of people are having problems still. Like obviously, right? Networking, relationships, the load boards, finding consistent lanes, the rates, and a lot of people still falling for how easy it is to be a broker, the liability, the risk. And some of the topics today I wanted to talk about, and we're going to talk about, is being a broker. I wanted to come on and talk about the aging, recourse, and like controlling your days of pay. How important is that for a broker? Starting fluid for the soul. That is right. Coffee, straight up. It's like oil in a cup. Depends on how you drink it. Thick, gets the motor running. How are you guys doing today? Actually, before we get started, what kind of situations can I personally help you with? Freight, lanes, building lanes, calling customers, asking for the sale, building a business plan, helping with your safety score, recruiting drivers. Maybe it's your product. I don't know. Maybe it's just having faith in the world today. Who knows? It's hard, man. Let me tell you. One day we're clean cut, sales ready to mow. Next thing you know, we look like we're a miner. So, what is some of the biggest problems you guys are having right now? What is it? I'd like to know in the comments. And if you guys get a chance, share the video, like the page. Let people know about Shaggy's group. We have the brokerage, the dispatching, the trucking. Currently, we're looking for flatbeds that need help, that need customers too, like freight. We just picked up another 2 customers for flatbed. She's getting the trucks. It's funny too because our freight's paying $2 to $3 a mile, empty on average, and loaded, sometimes more. And it seems like there's no trucks. But when you go to Facebook world, crybaby world, trucking companies going out of business world, and all this other stuff, you're like, see, what kills me too, right? So is when you build a business plan, the first thing you do is you write out fuel. Then you get your paper out and you write out your insurance weekly. Then you write out your truck payment. Then you write out your trailer payment. And this is whether you have one or not, right? You're like, well, I paid cash. We don't have no payments. Great. What happens when your truck blows up? You're going to borrow from your profits that you need to use for other things? Why don't we always plan ahead? Well, what if the money's not there? Money for you. But just because Jim's cost of operations is $230 a mile and Fred's operations is $221, Jimmy's is $190 and another one's $220. Well, why? They have a plan. They're not worried about the money being left on the table. They're not worried about what other people are bidding. They know their numbers and they're consistently building it. Why is that so hard? That's one of my topics today. Why is that so hard? I want to know from you guys, the ones flowing through. How hard is it for you to get a set of numbers, put those numbers in order, and go and find that freight in an area? Where did the mentality of freight chasing, running all over the place, making buku bucks, and hoping it works out come in? When it's not there, all you're doing is struggling to get it. You know, it's funny when the gold rush is gone, you're struggling to make a paycheck with nickels and dimes. When you had the paycheck of dollars and everything else, but we don't take advantage of it when we get it. Like you think about it. Like here's an example for you. Everybody comes to me and wants to be a broker, right? Everybody wants to be a broker or in trucking. And the first thing I always tell people is if you think about everybody you know from you when you grew up to now, college, whatever, how many of them have you told that you're in trucking? How many of them you told you're a broker and you let them know? Some of the first loads I moved as a broker are people I know. It was crazy. Like they came to me because I let them know or they follow me on Facebook. Today, Today is the first day of the rest of our lives. Forget yesterday and go out with a new plan and kill it. World is full of opportunities. One chance conversation can change your life forever. Hard work and hustle, less sleep builds empires. Be the change with yourself. Amen. Whoever put that on there, what 100%. Some of the best freight that I brought in is through relationships of people that I've picked up the phone and had a conversation with. And because I'm prepared on insurance, equipment financing, compliance and safety, adding owner operators, lease agreements, finding carriers, I'm a broker, all this stuff, I'm prepared. It's like having 8 legs. Like one conversation with one guy helping another guy tells you a story of what he didn't know what was available. Like, you know how many times that I'm helping a carrier and they tell me about opportunity they left on the table, and because I'm a unique fit, I can help them with that opportunity just because I asked to help. I mean, if they're not doing it themselves, why can't we assist them? You can't survive me, myself, and I. It's hard. I mean, I guess you can if you're like Brian Hutchinson or one of those guys Charles talks about, where you save all your money up and then you live very frugalously, or you pay off a little what you had and don't buy ahead. I just don't see that in the world today. It's hard for people to do that. Budget, kids want this, that, that. I mean, I get it. It's hard. People don't want to live without. That's why credit cards are through the roof. How is everybody doing this morning? What is your problems? I always come on and talk, but what can I help you with? What is it? Compliance and safety? Your brokers won't use you? You're scared. You have a second MC number and you don't want to keep jumping from one to the other. You have a big carrier and you have a lot of crashes. Well, I mean, what is your problem that you're having right now? Is it that you don't know how to network? Because I mean, I hear people every day talking about people that can't get freight, and every new guy I get comes in, they do posting what direction, and their phone gets blown off the hook, and they don't know what to do with the freight. I'm confused. Oh yeah, come on in. You want to join the show, Sparky? I didn't. I forgot to send you the link. All right, we sent out another invite. We'll invite the whole crowd. And if anybody ever wants to come on the show and just chat with us like we are live right here, all you got to do is put a comment in the little messenger right there, and I will send you an invite. And you are more than welcome to join on, and we will discuss your business right here personally in front, and I will help you. So if you ever want to come on and you guys are going through my video and you will watch the next show, and we will let you come on and you can share your experiences. I'm not God's gift to earth, let me tell you, nowhere close. I don't even act like it. My shirts are like 18 bucks. You know what I mean? I don't buy, you know, high dollar clothes. I don't shop on that one street in Chicago. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just like you. Started out as a driver, became an owner operator. Oh, I am not perfect. I got problems with past kids, been divorced. I mean, had debt, have debt. I'm not a multi-billionaire. Never, and maybe not, never will be. Never say never, though, right? But that's not in my agenda. My agenda is taking care of my family, being able to buy what I want, and getting by. I don't have to be fucking Warren Buffett. I don't have to be Bill Gates. It's not even in my vision. My vision is helping you. What problems do you have from my experience or my network can help you with right now? Is it trucks, trailers, equipment, adding owner operators, compliance sake? What is it? I mean, I've been doing everything for so long. Just test me. If not, Sparky will come in, Frank will come in, Charles will come in. I mean, these guys are doing exactly what we're preaching right now. So we're working on the dispatching and we're bringing up the dispatching. Well, let's get back to the topic today. This is the topic. For all you guys that want to start, it is, right? Visions and goals. That's what we're here for. I have a vision. I have a vision of having a compliance company, having a brokerage, and I didn't want to have the dispatching, but I want to open a trucking company and I have a brokerage and I'm tired of telling people what to do the right way. So I might as well do it for them. So I'm building the dispatch, right? Back up. I've had it forever just to utilize the freight. I don't want to be a free for all dispatching service. I don't want to dispatch everybody. I want to dispatch flatbeds, some dry vans to pull my customer freight, and they need backhauls. That's it. Or round trips, as I say. Backhauls is like cuss word. The reason I say backhauls too is because it's an average, right? You need so much money to make it one way to service the customer another way. And if your customer's deleting you or the backhauls are deleting you, causing you not to make the money, it's not a good fit. See how that works? So, what can we help you with? I'm here all for 30 minutes. We got 30 more minutes. What can we help you with? Is it scripts? Is it calling customers? Is it asking for the freight? Is it learning the 5-5 so you don't look like an idiot when you call in? Is it learning how to talk to Sparky Anderson to find out what he needs to move your freight so he knows you're not wasting his time? How do you figure out what Sparky's running before you call him so you offer him the right freight? How do you understand Sparky's company so you don't look like an idiot when you call him? How do you understand the customer needs besides looking at Thomas Stamper, Cray Blue Book, Manta, Produce Market Guide, and all that stuff, Zoom Info? How do you find out what their real problems are? A guy asked me that yesterday. How do you find out what their real problems? Well, I'm going to tell you today about a real problem. You know what kills brokerages when they start out? It's not getting the customers because that's just making the calls, honestly. It's not getting your credit score because if you make the calls to get the customers and it's the right freight and you know how to talk to the carriers, they will work with you. Now, you have to know where to find the carriers because they can't be on the load boards because the ones on the load boards don't even know what the fuck they want. They go anywhere. Very few people tell you what they want. So, how do you find the carrier to offer them freight consistently to help you service your customers and have rates? Because the next question you're going to ask me when you're a broker is, well, I got those lines. How do I bid them? Well, you might want to call Sparky and find out what he wants. But you got to get them to trust you because you have no credit score and you may not talk truckinese. People aren't going to listen to you if you don't talk truckinese, and the ones that have experience and the ones that are one and done freight chasing, like some of these other people out here, they don't care because when you call them, it's just like you ever notice when you talk to, and I'm not being bad, right? But certain people, not just foreigners, but certain people, but it generalized to foreigners for some reason, right? And that's what when we're making the calls, that's who it is. And it's not, and I know it's every market, right? There's good and bad in every culture, right? So people of culture, when I call them and I try to negotiate with them, I don't know what the mindset is in this problem, right? But you call them up and you're like, yo, I'm going to go in and sell some customers. And I was wondering, since you live in the area, if I went in and got these customers and I had lanes going to these different areas, what would your rates be? And they're like, what's the lanes? Well, I mean, theoretically, if I had those lanes and I got these customers to fit you, what would you need? Well, you got to tell me the lanes and then we'll tell you what we're going to jack you for. So you don't know what you currently need per truck to consistently run your company? No, how much are you, what's the lane? And we'll tell you how much we need. And it's like, that's the conversation. You're like, well, how do I go out and sell for you if you don't even know what you want? You're always going one way. I mean, I get it. Going one way doesn't pay coming back the other way and different things like that. Going south sometimes coming back north doesn't, or going east and west at this time of year. I get all that. We do the map training, right? There's 5 seasons, 5 regions, and 2 of the regions, there's 3 sections, and one of the regions there's three. There's and 3 of the regions are dictated by seasons when the seasons are in, and then everything's a flow like a flower. It opens up, ends in January. When the male stops, then in May it starts in March. It starts the cycle again in most people's world, but in other people's world, we don't stop. We don't have that downtime. January, February, March, April, May. Of course, it's like it's like you ever understand too when these people call you. It's like, yeah, it's calling about the load from Rockford, Illinois, going down to Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, we want me to tell you about it. No, what's it pay? So you don't want to know anything about it. No, I just need to know what to pay. You already told me it picks up here, delivers here. I've seen it on the thing. So that's all you need to know. Yep, what's it pay? Well, what can you do it for? Dispatch. Or the best they ask, like they don't even pry. And then some of them are like, they come in and they pry right off the bat because they have no technique. We need to have an 8 hour class where all we do is phone calls one day, where we just call brokers and show people how to talk and negotiate. And then we do a class where we call customers all day, where everybody just listens nonstop calls. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be a big point. So here's what I wanted to talk about today. So for brokers, this is very important. What's up, Hawkeye? Lee's in the house, great dude. So here's what's important. So besides all the stuff that I already talked about earlier, here's what's important right now. I want to teach you guys a very big lesson. Since it's funny because I've helped so many people open brokerages, and they all watch me. They're in the show. A lot of them are super successful. I've been some of the first brokerages I helped, even though I'm not a brokerage, are like 8 years ago. What's up, Terry Brown? So I wanted to tell you something that I knew it was happening. I heard people talk about it, but until you're doing the whole process physically yourself, it's amazing. I wonder how many of these brokers starting out that want to be a broker didn't make it in trucking. Go to PFA, buy their finance bond where they pay 4,000, 3,000 a year or whatever the price of it is. So they use all their money to get the bond. They go and get a HubSpot, they get a TMS, they get all this stuff because HubSpot's free up until a certain amount. So it's a great CRM, right? Mr. Hawkeye was just talking about it the other day. And it's funny because, I was thinking about it too. I should be using more of the HubSpot now with all my multitasking. We already have it, but I was using another tracker and I was like, man, he's a great point. I should be using a tracker. I could cross it over in my HubSpot because I've just been lazy and I have so much coming in. I'm really terrible about input data entry. So the more I can limit the data entry, the better off I am. So why not use something? So today I'm loading up the HubSpot back in there. Me and Kyle Williams had it forever, and we used it. But one of the things I want to talk about that's killing most brokers is you get your bond, you get your contingency cargo. Hopefully, when you get your first customer, don't do it before because you're wasting money. You get e-carrier check, you get DAT low board or truck stop, whichever floats your furry, right? And then you go and you get ready to go, right? So you're out there, you're running. Now it's month number 2, and you haven't made no money yet. You're fucking calling. Hi, my name is Judy. I'm a broker. I'd like to help you. No, but we're the only one assets. You can go to email. We're not taking on any new brokers right now. Okay, thank you. Can I send you my information in case you need one? Okay. And you do that all day long. Then you get this one customer, right? And you get a load finally moved, and you're only making 6%. Everybody listening? You're only making 6%. So now you're all excited because you made 6%. Well, you're thinking you made 100 bucks, 150, and you got 9 more loads to go. So you're like, fuck, I haven't made no money in a while. I'm going to make $1,000 this week. But you're not making shit. Everybody's like, what do you mean? Oh, you're not making nothing. You're literally not going to pay your bills or make anything for 30 to 60 days. They're like, why? What do you mean that? Why am I not going to make anything as a broker? They didn't tell me this in training class that I'm going to have to float my payroll as a broker. This is only the first step. And everybody, I don't know where this mentality of just going to get loads, throw them on the board, truck takes them, you turn them in the factory now. He gets paid, I get paid, we move on. But you don't get paid. I'm just trying to tell you this. Because when you do factoring for a brokerage, you do a 95 or a 10% reserve. So then when you got $100 load and $1,000 load and you're making $100 and your reserve is 10%, you just lost your profits and you had to pay out of your reserve to even pay that carrier, and you don't get nothing. And here's what's fucked up. They keep $81 and they give you 16 and they charge you $5 ACH fee to do it, or $2.50 or whatever it is. So it wasn't even worth it. You might as well just told them to hold the fucking money for 30 days or 60 days when your customer pays. But now you have to pay your bills or your agent wants paid and you didn't work it out with them and you were expected to, and you don't have another job and your savings is gone because you left bomb fucking turkey field factory job yesterday. Or you're a trucking, or you're that owner operator says, man, owner operator driving a truck sucks, and doing all this stuff and everything. Now I'm going to be a broker. And I think it was easier driving the truck. Anyways, so, that's one of the craziest things I want to talk about, because your advance rate is very, very important. And then you're aging and watching it. These two things are so important in a brokerage that if you don't pay attention to understand the billing, the process, and how to control your pays and those percentages. Remember, if you only make 6%, your reserve is 10%, you're making money, right? You're going to make a little money because your cost might be 1.9 after your factoring fee, because your quick pay might be 2.7, then you get 9% back and all that stuff, different things. So you might still be in the red, but how many people can wait 30 to 60 days to get the money? And are you going to pay attention and do all the dot your I's, cross your T's when you get the money? I mean, what happens when you're moving 50 loads? Who is going to make sure those cycles are coming in and you're getting all your money back? You're only one man or one woman. You guys ever think about how fucked up that is? Like knowing you need to get paid when you first start. Here's what makes it worse. So now you're hard up because you just start your authority as a broker. So you'll take anything. So you get your grocery warehouse, your pumpkins, your watermelons, your things with lumpers, because they come on these big lists with volume. You're like, wow, I got one load covered off that list, man. They keep sending them to me the other day, and Johnny just ordered it. I'm going to give you some money. Then Johnny gets over there and he's like, hey, Shaggy, I know you're broke and stuff. You haven't made no money, but now I need a $340 lumper. Did you set up that EFS account to get to pay for my lumper? I don't even have money in the bank to cover the lumper, let alone any other problems. I thought you were supposed to do that. Well, fuck you. I ain't moving your load then. I'll leave it sit here until hell freezes over. I'm not paying the lumber. I don't even have no checks. Why didn't you tell me ahead of time? What do you do? What do you do when these things happen? I need you 12 people to tell me, what do you do when this happens? Go get a loan? You already didn't have no credit because you're using PFA in the first place. I want to know. Please tell me. And another thing I wanted to talk about this morning, what is the obsession of people so dying to get into a trucking industry? Okay, all right, got it. So I keep talking to people, right? And they still are people with 25, 20 years experience in a different market. Then they start tinkering in this market, right? Now, these are people that have already worked 25 years. What is the obsession of ruin what you built? Can you guys tell me that? What's the obsession of ruin what you built to get into this industry when it's not easy? There's nothing fun about it. I mean, it is fun. I love it. I love trucking. I love dispatching. I love brokering. I like that drill. I like helping people. I like the excitement of booking loads. I get it. I love the excitement of running a truck hard and blowing numbers every week, better than I did the last week, right? Consistently. aging, short pays, and this gets people on the trucking side. You know how many people put on company drivers and owner operators? And listen, when you bring these guys on, you're leasing them or hiring them for a service of work they're doing for you to get paid, right? So then why, when you're paying them for a service or to be leased on, should you have bad aging or short pays that you're getting caught liable for when they quit? Do you just think that's a business expense? You just like doing it for shits and giggles? I tell you, I don't like it. One time I had this driver named Rob, and I had this one driver named Rob, and Rob, he did some power only trailers, like 8 of them, and there's like 150 of them in a row. So they're moving them from one location to the next, and they paid like $1,000 a piece. So the driver went and picked them up. Well, they all had different VIN numbers, but they're all the same type of trailer, right? No numbers on them, nothing like that. So they just had VIN numbers. So the driver goes and just picks up randomly 8 of them. Well, the broker knew that he picked them up and delivered them, but the point was he didn't pick up the ones the broker assigned him. Still got delivered, still went to the same place. So then, like 30 days later, the broker's kind of agitated over the stupidity of my driver picking up the wrong ones when he knew the right ones to pick up. So I get recourse to $8,000. But the fucked up part about it was the guy quit right before that, like just a few weeks. So he either knew it was going to happen because the broker was calling him and yelling, or he didn't know because he's that stupid and I got screwed for it. What do you do? What do you do? That's the question. How do you get your money back for that? Do you hold out the week before? Do you hold your last paycheck for 30 days? Till your aging is clear? You contracted them for loads being paid. So in your lease agreement, does it say that I reserve the right because of this contract to hold your last paycheck plus your escrow to a certain amount of days to cover any recourses or aging or chargebacks that may occur from problems that you issued? Do you have that in your agreements? These are big problems that happen, and I know people are eating it every day. Here's another problem. When you work with factory companies and aging and stuff, have you ever noticed why you guys have this book on your desk with all the short pays, lumpers, and detention times you've never been paid for, but you've sent in on them? Have you ever really looked, or you just let those go? One time I was working with TBS back in 2010. It's like right before the end of 2010. I was on the phone with my rep. It's been a year and a half already, a little over with this company, and we got this stack of short pays because my drivers didn't quit, and they're always asking me and Vicky, the lady that worked for me, where they're at. And one day this lady said, "You have a reserve account." So my brain rotated around that reserve account she mentioned because I have ADHD for like a day and a half. And then finally one day I'm talking to Dana at TBS, and I'm like, "Hey, if I'm on non-recourse, how do I have a reserve account?" She's like, "What do you mean, Shaggy?" I'm like, "There's like, you said something about reserve account. What the hell is that?" She says, "There's 11,000 something dollars in this account that's yours." And I'm like, "No shit. This is a total true story." I'm on the phone with her. My brain works like that sometimes. It has to roll around before a squirrel grabs it. And I remember Melissa. I'm like, "Melissa, we got this much money in reserve." She said, "I'm saying, how does this work?" She says, "Well, some of your stuff was added on to the rate cons, some of your stuff we rebuild, different things, and all those come in later, not with the original. So when we pay you, a lot of times this money just sits over here, and I don't really look at it because it's just there." And I'm like, "But it's not your money. It's my drivers. They did the work. This is money." So now you're going through $11,000 trying to figure out who the hell it goes to and what it's got. And you got this big ass problem because your factoring company won't ever, because see, it's not really the factoring company because the factoring company's got policies, but the factoring company gets so big that they have to hire fucking employees that are paid by the hour. Well, employees are only employees. So it's your job still to tell the employees at the factoring company that you hire to protect you and pay you on time, but you're actually liable for all of it for expense. So controlling aging days to pay, it's just as important for the brokerage as the trucking company, but we don't worry about this at the beginning. We don't understand any of this right now. All the details should be discussed before accepting the load from the shipper. the shipper. If lumper is involved, make sure those fees are added in the load. Give it the rate up front. I get it. I totally agree. What's up, Tom Camara? How are you, brother? Totally agree. And that's some of the biggest problems is people like Dan that's in our office that does our moves to freight with our big customer that we moved 50 loads probably this month already. And we are rolling. We're getting the system. So now my brokerage is almost a year old in September. We moved a bunch of random loads. Isaiah has been tweaking it with Dan and William. Justin's rocking the sales team. All of them are. And we're moving almost 50 loads in our first month and a half of really rocking. And we have 4 more potential customers lined up. And now we're adding the dispatching and bringing the trucking company back. And we're letting you guys know this while we're doing it because we're actually doing it, not just talking about it, right? We've done it. Now we're doing it again. It's just a slow process building the team. Before, when I had 25 trucks and 30, 40 dispatching trucks, it was me, my wife, and somebody or somebody's. And I had to outsource the rest. Now, when we do it, I have the compliance team, I got the dispatching team, I got the brokerage team, sales team, and now I'm adding the owner operators are soon. Actually, in the next few weeks, me and Melissa will be filing an MC number and we're going to let it start rolling through the 21-day period just to have it ready to go. So when I have the 10 trucks, 15 trucks in dispatching and my team is running the right way, then I'll feel comfortable bringing on, adding the product for my owner operator. Here comes the main man, troublemaker in the house.
What up?
This you should have been here earlier because this is like the most awesome conversation for you. Like it wouldn't even brought up all those other guys. You always talk about Jess and Shane Ferris and all our buddies. We love them all too, right? But this is
They're
your
like
alley.
they're like part of our they're like part of our circle, part of our little crew.
Yeah. So check this shit out. So you already know. I mean, when I go to helping people open brokers, I probably help more people open a brokerage and be successful at it than I have myself so far, right? So I'm like the last guy to do it, right?
Yeah,
And so I'm learning things. I was like, man, we moved 40 loads with our new customer, right? So this show today was the topic from yesterday. And I was hoping you'd come in earlier because this is your alley. This is like your expertise. This is your freaking pet peeve. Factoring companies
yeah,
and aging and reserves. You know how many people I've just dawned on me earlier that are going out of business because this shit ain't taught?
yeah,
And Shane's a big guy. He has that spreadsheet. Remember, I don't like blasting him out, but that spreadsheet talks about factoring companies' numbers, losses, aging, percentages. It's a huge thing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's funny because I think he still uses one, even though he still likes to, like the rest of us, explains the difference between the two of them, right?
yeah,
So what I wanted to get before I get you going, because I'm going to set you on a path. What I brought up is, remember when I told you that story about when I was talking to my factoring company? I had those 20 some odd trucks when you met me before, and
yeah,
I talked to her one day, and I'm like non-recourse 2%, right? And a lady tells me I have $11,000 worth of reserves. I'm like, how do I have reserves? And I was telling people how many people don't know this money's being taken from them. And number two, when we were running the brokerage yesterday, I'm talking to Tom and Oppervach, and I'm like, Tom, how do we got 50 loads, but we're not making no money? Like the money's not coming. Tom
yeah,
said, well, most people, when they open a brokerage, they don't try to do it like you are. And I'm trying to do it impressive with no money invested, right?
yeah,
Most people come in with money. He explains it to me because, see, he says for the first 60 days, you'll never see no money. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? He says, because your margins when you start out for everybody, unless you get lucky, are low. You have to build your way in. He said, you're only the first load you did was 5.6. Now you're back up to 9 and you're moving forward, but your reserve is 10. So I'm dipping into my reserve to pay people to move my freight to get paid, and I still have to float the people that did it for me. You know, how big of a shocker, Frank, is that to most of these people that follow us?
Well, we talk about it all the time. Shane Ferris has got the best, and I've got it all written out. Shane wrote it out for me one day, and I've got it.
Dude, I got a screenshot somewhere when he put it
I've
out
got
there
it
those
saved
days.
on my computer. But here's a question for you, for all the people that are factoring, you try to get in this business with no money, and then what happens to you? If you're lucky,
Thanks, Carol.
what'd you do? Get married or something?
No, she was talking about what we're doing with that and the trucking company, the dispatching and running the brokerage and everything now.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's a lot of fucking work, man. I've been
yeah,
crying on it for a
yeah.
year now.
It's a lot to try to do at once. But you used to be, well, I'm getting my factoring, I'm getting my money for 2%. I don't know if you watch the news or anything lately, but prime rate's up to about 6. So do you
I thought it was over that. I seen something that's 7.2 or something
start?
like
Yeah,
that. And
started
it's
out.
supposed to go to 8.
Yeah, it started out at 0. So do you really think? Do you have a car payment? Do you have a house payment? Do you have any other loans at the bank? Did anybody give you 2%? Do you think you can borrow money for 2%? Do you really think you can do that? If you could, don't you think all your car loans would be 2% and your house payment would be mortgaged at 2, your mortgage would be 2% and all that? Yes, it would, because you would go do that, right? There's no such thing as 2 or 3% money. There never has been. Prime rate for the federal banks to loan banks money, to give them money, has been for years, even when the prime rate was lower. But the lending rate with the big banks has been 4 and 5% for years. So how you think some bank's going to give it to you for 2? They don't. They don't. And if you look at your reserves and you look at what they hold back and you look at all this other stuff they keep, on your behalf, it's been 16, 17% for years. For
It took me forever
years.
to know that. The first 2 years,
Because
I'm like, dude, I
because
just spent $100,000. Divide what they took over what you're doing. You'll know what the percentage is. It's higher
yeah,
than me.
yeah. And people will argue with me. They'll go, well, all I can tell you is I send an invoice and they keep 2% and give me my money. That's bullshit. No, they don't. No, they don't. They charge you transaction fees if you use their credit cards, which most people do. If they have a factoring company sends them out a credit card. They use their fuel company, and they take the lion's share of the discounts, and you get what's left over. And it's we when we
Either they are or the company that provided the card because
yeah.
factoring companies can't get fuel
It's just
cards.
like
Power to
brokering. It's
trucking.
just like co-brokering or double brokering a load of freight. By the time it gets down to you, by the time it gets down to the user, the guy that generates the revenue, by the time it gets down to you 2 or 3 people have had their hand in it already.
It's funny. We were remember when all of us numbnuts took that flight out to Utah? Me and
Yeah,
Clark Belter and Justin and all them.
yeah,
We're out in Utah and these Mormons are out there. And there was three big wigs from Loves there when we were out there doing that meeting because these Mormons with all this money that own these trucking businesses were had us out there. They flew us out there. They're in there negotiating cost minus 6 with Love. So I'm sitting there going, hey, let me listen to this. No one even knew I was hanging on the doorway right there. This is before we built our fuel card. Justin went got negotiated it. And I'm sitting there listening to these guys, how they're dropping $3 million worth of gallons to buy up front. Like their purchases ahead because they have like a couple hundred trucks. And now they're getting it at cost plus 6. And then they're showing how all these fuel card companies like Rodex and all them are levying about 35 cents off the top before you see the discounts that we're getting. And then the major ones like TA, Petro, Loves, Flying J, they're even constructed more. They're harder. They won't give it away as much. But when you go to Sap Brothers, QT, Quick Trips, Marathon, all those other guys, that fucking margin over that 35% is huge.
why do
Like,
you think you can go to a truck stop?
sorry,
You can go
35 cents.
in Missouri. You can go to a truck stop in Missouri, and when you come into Missouri, there's one exit, and all the truck stops are there. TA's there, Petro's there. All the big truck stops are there, and then there's a quick stop or whatever across the street.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's $3.80 at the big truck stop and $3.24 right across the street? And,
Yeah.
and believe me when I tell you, at $3.24, quick stop's still making their money.
Well, see, if you go look on this FTS report I get every morning, that same quick trip that's over there, I bet if I look, it'll show probably, I think it was like 363 on average across the Midwest right there.
Yeah,
On there, it's going to be 290.
yeah,
Seriously, if not less. It's
yeah.
like 60 to 70 cents right now.
The way fuel works,
Yeah.
all the big carriers, like all the big carriers, and one of them that I'm familiar with because I spent a lot of time there and I know the people there, like Covenant, for instance. They have a guy, and he's an accountant, and he has an office upstairs, and he has two or three assistants. You know, it's a department. He is their fuel guy. That's what he does. That's his job. His job all day, every day, is buying fuel. That's what he does. Most of these companies buy futures. Well, they all do. They buy futures. They'll buy fuel a year
Oh,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
as much
because
as
you can't negotiate until you burn 1,000,000 gallons.
yeah, yeah. They'll buy fuel a year out or 2 years out. That's when they buy their fuel. So when the price, when you turn on your TV in the morning and you look at the ticker down below and you see oil bouncing around, bouncing around, bouncing around, you know, these guys all bought their fuel when it was 79 cents, and they're just playing with the prices as they go along. And there's several things. You know, can they attract you, get you into the pump? And you remember when diesel used to be $1 less than gasoline, and now it's $1 more. Why do you think that is? It doesn't cost any more money to refine diesel. They'll tell you that, but that's a fucking lie. Diesel is an afterthought. Diesel is the junk that's left over.
Yeah, it's the leftover, the barrel scraped up and refined.
Yeah, that's just like loads on DAT. That's the leftover shit. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you put in your truck. You know, so I mean that's the name of the game. Fuel. Yeah, well, you could spend a whole day just talking about fuel. You know, and
You spend the whole you
some
spend the
guys,
whole day talking about this aging bullshit where people are getting fucked because they're using the money ahead of time and they're not waiting for it to come in, and then they're getting filed on their bond because they need to pay their bills and it's not their fucking money. Well,
yeah,
you run a trucking company and you turn in a bill of lading and you did the load, that's your money.
yeah.
But you have to pay somebody. Then it's their money and your money.
See, yeah, I guess I'm
It's
just
never your money when you're a broker.
I
It's
guess
just
I'm
your
just kind of
percentage.
lucky that way because when we started out, there were no factoring companies. We didn't factor in. You either had to have the money to pay your bills or you weren't in business.
When I grew up and worked in the truck stops, you never heard none of these words.
No, no, there was no such thing. And I mean, you had
They
to.
really did come
I
in
posted. I posted what our days to pay are the other day on my page.
16.
16. We're at 16. If you have to wait more than 16 days to get 100% of your money. No factoring fees, no transaction fees, nothing. If you pull a load for $1,000, you get $1,000. If you have to wait longer than that, you're not in business. You're not doing business. You're
Container One
you're
Company.
all you're doing is riding around on somebody else's credit card. And if you have a breakdown, you're done. You know, now there's these companies out there that'll actually finance your breakdown.
Oh, yeah. They called me
Try
the other
doing
day.
that.
Oh,
Try
yeah.
doing that if your credit score is 550. See what
Dude,
they
they
do.
don't even, no, they don't even care. The one that called me the other day, they will take 500 plus. They charge almost 40% interest and they want it paid back like
Yeah. Or guess what they take?
your vehicle.
Your
Put a
truck.
lien on it. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
those guys are slick. They'll go after your property, anything you possessionally own.
Yeah. Yeah. They
It's
go
that
after
fine
anything
line
you
in
got.
agreement.
Anything you got. So when we tell people, and you and I've told people this for years, when you
What's
go
up,
into the
Sparky?
trucking business or you go into the brokerage business or you go into any business that you're going into, you've got to have enough money to operate for at least 90 days. And if you don't, and you start using all these little things that are out there, pretty soon about 20 to 30% of your money is gone. And if you're really good at what you do in the trucking business, if you make 10 to 12% total margin off of everything you buy and everything you sell, loads, okay? If at the end of the month you wind up with 10 or 12% on that truck,
Yep.
you're doing everything right.
Yeah, that's what Tom said the other day when we started bidding because I'm learning all this more. I mean, I've been involved in it, right? But it's
Yeah,
just the total experience is now all mine, right? With my
yeah,
team. And Tom's like, dude, you got to be at 12.
yeah,
You got to be at 12. This
yeah.
period. That's your number. And you
That's your
can't
number.
work for anybody less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you're not at 12, you're doing some things wrong and you need to fix it. You need
We
to
are.
go
That's,
in. Yeah,
yeah.
you need to go in, look at your business. You know, I'm not saying, they're going to come lock you up today. None of that shit. But if you're less than 12, you really, really, really need to take a hard look at your business and find out what's going on because you got problems. And
And this is you got to understand your expenses because we're building spreadsheets, and Isaiah puts the loads in there on the TMS, and it shows you right there where you're averaging with your expenses. And so, like, we're watching it because we got into a customer that had a bad deal with another broker. So the first one, because of a quick pay, we had to lower the fee. Then we got it right up, and we're moving our way up as we work. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's no such thing as 2% money, guys. It's not out there. If it was out there, that's what your car loan would be, and that's what your mortgage would be. There's no such thing as 2% money. There's no
Yeah,
such thing.
I just wanted to. My big pet peeve this morning was aging factoring companies and understanding your numbers when you're doing this. If you don't do it,
Yeah,
man, especially in broke trucking is different to a point because you have 7 trucks running Thursday. They all turn in their rate cons in the morning, and you go and you put a sheet on top of it. You either give it to Frank's daughter or the one that does the billing, and she bills it. They wait for it, or you turn it in, you get paid, and they give you your money. You're still
yeah.
losing the fees on that Frank's telling you about, but it's done. Brokerage is not like that.
No,
It's
no,
like not at all. And
no.
I think people are
In brokerage, you're not dealing with you're not dealing with assets. There's no tangibles. You don't buy and sell any. You don't own anything.
but
You
here's the
just
confusion though.
yeah,
This is the biggest confusion. The word financially liable.
yeah, yeah.
Explain that.
Me?
Yeah, tell
No,
what
go ahead. Go
no,
ahead. I
because
mean, I'm
90% of the people I talk about when you start talking about problems being a broker, they're like, what's that matter to me? I'm not I don't have no today's the truck picked it up. Frank grabbed it.
yeah.
What is financial liability? When you make that agreement, whether it's contract or verbally with your customer, why are you financially liable for that load to be delivered? But you didn't sign the bill of lading.
No, well,
You didn't
legally
drive
speaking,
the truck, Frank.
yeah, but legally speaking, you took the load, you dispatched the load,
But
and
I
if
didn't.
anything
But I didn't
happened,
sign the bill, Frank. That's what they argue
doesn't
with me.
matter.
This is the
Doesn't matter.
conversation. You don't know
Doesn't
what
matter.
you're talking about, Frank, because I don't.
You
I'm not
handled the
financially
load.
liable.
You handle the load. You
Well, if they
dispatch.
wreck,
You
what's
took
it
it.
got to
You
do with me?
accepted it. You agreed to the terms. You dispatched the load. You deliver the load. You
Hey,
bill the
that
load.
guy rode a tanker while my load. He had his own tanker as a liquid milk load, and he rode it. All I was told to do was to find a truck and give the rate.
Yeah, yeah,
They were
yeah.
going to pay
You are
me.
liable.
What do you
You're
mean?
liable.
I don't
You're
even know.
liable for that. If that truck that you dispatched has a wreck, you're going to be liable for that. Here's
You're
my favorite
telling me
term.
if I put a guy
Here's my
on because
favorite term.
are you telling me if Sparky calls me, his crazy weirdo ass calls me, and I put him on a load, but he just come off one of those fucking pig loads he hauls all over the place, and he ran like about how to get there because he had to do the get it and go type shit,
Yeah,
and he's in a wreck, I'm in trouble.
yeah.
But
And
is
you
but
might
is it
only
my
be
job to worry about his car?
assigned a percentage of liability. And
What?
what they're going to do is they're going to go after the company with the most insurance, i.e., the most money. That's where they're going to go. You know that deal where they caught those guys up in Michigan deleting trucks and tuning them? And they went in there, and there were two companies that this guy, he was a pretty famous guy too. I knew who he was. I knew it when it happened, but
Oh, the guy in Michigan that happened at that shop?
he was deleting
Yeah,
trucks. He was
they've been doing
deleting.
it for a while. They're all
Yeah,
over.
I've
Yeah, I
been
know
doing
what
it for
you're talking
years.
about.
And there were two companies that they primarily did it for. When they came in, they hammered the two companies and they hit them for $1 million a piece. And they shut one of them down, but they hit them for $1 million a piece. And the guys that were doing it, the guys that had the shop that were actually doing the work, they only fined them $750,000. And I called him up. I've had conversations with him before, and I'm not going to talk about why, but we have. Anyway, I called him up. I said, "How did those trucking companies get hammered for $1 million, and you only got hammered for 750, and you were the bad guy?" And he said, "They took all I had." He said they came in and took everything I had. They took my building, my company, my house, my trucks, my pickup trucks. He said they came in here and that he said I had $750,000 in assets and they took it all. He said those other guys have more assets than they did. But they fined him less. They fined him less, but they got everything he had. They took everything he had. Everything.
Ask him
So
how much he made over the years doing it, though.
Doesn't matter. They cleaned him out.
Uh,
Whatever he had, they
all
got it.
gone.
They took everything. But
What's he have to show for it now?
nothing. I guess nothing.
That's
Nothing.
what I'm trying to say. You made all that money, spend it, enjoy yourself. Now you have nothing.
If you have it, see, this is where you and I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
No,
These
you are.
dispatch companies that think they're out there riding around, and they're liability free and they have no connection. Think again. And I mean, they're already suing the shit out of them all over the place. But and they'll argue with you like on Facebook and shit, and they'll go, and somebody has a wreck, then the dispatch company just disappears. They're
We should
like,
try. We should try to
oh
get that guy on. Remember, I invested. I called Carrier 411 and talked to Denny and got the name of the guy that's prosecuting all those dispatching and doing. He's actually going after the double brokers too.
yeah,
He runs that. I got the guy's name somewhere. He runs the federal government's FMCSA whatever team. And I had his name. I remember I talked to him on the phone one time. I should have got him on the show. Because
he's
he
got,
only, well, he said he gets so many complaints that he can only take the big ones that because they're not that big. But he
yeah,
said the frauds that they get through their office are in the thousands.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And if you think that just because you're a dispatch service, you're a dispatch service, if you think that you're not liable, you're a fucking fool.
So
You
one
are
time,
absolute.
here's one for
You're
you.
you're on the very front line of
So
being
one
because what
time,
happens is a lot of these dispatch services are fly by night, and it's somebody operating out of their house, or just somebody fly by night company. You got no business insurance. You got nothing. You got nothing. Nothing. And if I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have business insurance, if they can't get their money that way, they'll come after what you got.
shit,
They'll
dude,
come
when I
after your
first started
house.
dispatching, I remember in 2011, I didn't know what I was doing besides my trucking company. And OIDA tried to sue me twice because
Yeah,
their members were upset with the process of my dispatching when I was learning it. So they go complain to OIDA. And
yeah,
then here's a good one for you. Check this one out. So I've said this story before. Here's a good one about liability and dispatching services, right? So we have this guy, this company that me and somebody else are running. And I'm helping him. He's more running him. I found him. He ran him, and he decided to become invested in the company. So now he's doing invoicing. He's acting like he's part owner, so he could use the company. He's helping hire drivers for the dude. Oh yeah, like the guy's a foreigner. I remember when he came in and Matt was in the office. I remember he come up to this certain place, not my office, but a different Matt. And he's up in Michigan, and the guy says, "I'm from Turkey. I'm a general. If you don't stand up when I'm talking to this foreigner guy that owned this company, I kill people. This was the weirdest dude we ever met. But now he's a truckie, right? He's
yeah,
got all this money. He's buying brand new trucks. He's got drivers in them. And naturally, the person that was running him only wanted the trucks to move his freight. So he didn't give a fuck, man. He's letting the safety score go like shit. Everything's running. All he's doing is putting his freight on him, running motherfucker, charging him a percentage. You don't care, right? This
yeah,
is a long time ago. And he never really changed. Only this side changed. I'm the one that cared. He didn't care. So it took me a long time to figure that out. That was being used. But anyways, moral of the story, the driver calls in like this, says, Frank, it's Shaggy. Hey, I can't get a hold of Mr. G. The truck's messing up, and you're the one that hired me. You're the one that helps me get paid. You're the one that tells me where to go. Only Mr. G, he just is around because he acts like he owns the company. I do everything with you. You're the dispatching service. You help me get recruited. The truck's making a noise, and I see a TA up ahead. Do you want me to pull over like I did last time and we had the breakdown? We had the service guy come out and we get towed, and it cost Mr. G money as pissed, or do you want me to go to the TA, Frank?
yeah. Pick one.
Where do you want me to go? No, I'm driving. I need to know because I don't want to get in trouble getting you run me.
Yeah.
Where do you want me to
All
go?
that stuff. All that
Where do you
stuff
want
is
me to go? I'm
so.
going to tell you. So what happened
It's
was this
so
certain
so
dispatcher,
so.
Frank,
It's
told
so
him to go
easy
to
to
the
prove
TA.
in court. It's
Listen,
so,
though. The dispatcher told him to go to the TA. He said, are you sure? He said, yeah, go up to the TA. Within the next 2 minutes in 3 lanes of traffic, this certain truck broke down right in the lane. A car T-boned his ass in, and a semi truck on his phone hit the car. Who is now liable? The guy on the phone? The lady who wasn't paying attention? The guy in front? Or the 3 subpoenas we got for being sued because we're the ones that dispatched him on the load, put him on the load,
everybody.
and yeah, and verbally told him what to do.
We had a guy. We had a guy go pick up, actually deliver a load of milk. This is several years ago. And when you do that, you got to climb up on top. You see those.
Oh, we got it froze. We froze. I think he's dead. He's froze. Frank, you froze? Frank's froze. Well, it was getting ready to get in a good part. Let's see if he pops back in a few minutes. We've been on almost an hour, so we'll have to roast some. Oh, he's back. I thought you died on us. Go ahead, finish your.
Oh, I never left.
Oh, you froze. Go ahead. You were crawling up. He was crawling on the top of the
He
tanker.
crawls up on the tanker to get the seal, right? He fell down. He fell off the tanker. He was at the milk plant making a delivery. He fell down. He hurt his wrists when he fell down. He went home. He got a lawyer. The lawyer sued everybody. He sued us because we dispatched him. He sued the co-op because it was their milk. He sued the milk plant because he was on their property. He even sued the people that made the tank, or the people that built the tank, Bluegrass Tank up in E-Town, Kentucky. He even sued them. They sued everybody. Everybody. And, all these lawyers are sitting there they're slinging shit up against the wall, slinging shit up against the wall. And if you send them a check for $5,000, they're happy. They'll shut up. They'll leave you alone. But you're going to pay them. They're going to sue everybody. And if you're a dispatch service or a broker and you dispatch a truck, and you can't control how many hours that guy's got. If he runs over his logs, you can't control that. You can't control where he parks. If he parks on a ramp and a busload full of kids hits him, there's nothing. You don't have any control over that. If he runs a red light and runs over a family in a car, you don't have any control over
Gets
that.
his landing gear caught on railroad tracks because GPS says take a right
Could
and he
be
doesn't pay
anything.
attention.
Could be anything. You will find out. This is my new favorite term, and it's been going around for years and years. You will have a percentage of liability. They'll come in and go, yeah, it wasn't totally your fault, but if you checked his hours before you dispatched him, you find out he couldn't be there.
It's amazing because
It'll
if
always
you
be
don't go on
something.
Carrier 401 and screenshot that one thing or
Yeah,
have that one thing you checked it, you're not safe.
you can't
We're
do it.
not,
There's nothing you
most
can do about it.
carriers don't even check a PSP, let alone brokers check that little box that's on these different sites where you screen it, shows you the score in their crashes, and you approve it, right?
Yeah, yeah. We better get out of here. We've been here for an hour, and people
I know.
got business.
I know. It's crazy. We have had like 15 people. They didn't even show up until you came on.
Well, it's the hair.
I wonder where Charles was today. He said he was going to pop by. Man, I always worry about that guy. He's my favorite.
I'm gonna call him this afternoon. I can't call him this morning.
And I always have that fear one day it's going to be like another Bob. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. Bob Best, man. Is he still on Facebook, man? I get sad every time I see that motherfucker pop up, man.
I had some
I see
memories.
Bob.
I had some memories pop up last night on my Facebook, and Bob had commented on all of them. And it was
Oh,
funny.
it's not even that. Yeah, every time he turns around, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. You remember that? Oh my God, it always comes in my head. That is
Yeah,
the biggest saying, dude.
yeah.
Those
Big
big
Bob.
speeches. I miss him.
I do too.
His
Big
wife never answers my calls, so not personally. I think she just like shut it out.
No, she doesn't carry that phone. That was his phone.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, she doesn't carry it around.
'Cause we used to
I
talk
mean,
all the
she'll
time. She loved
she'll
me.
go check it once in a blue moon, but she's busy, man. She's still dispatching trucks.
I'm sure she is still broke her and had that huge account.
Yeah, yeah, she's busy.
I said think she did a bunch of it anyways. When she was in there, he helped her, didn't she?
Yeah,
Or
and she got their daughter in there. She's with her now, so they're
oh,
staying
I
pretty
remember
good.
that.
Yeah.
I know it sucks. She just bought her the car.
Oh,
God, it goes so fast. That's why people need to start paying attention, wake the fuck up, and worry about what they're doing now. You know what I mean?
that's right.
That's why we're here, isn't it?
That's why I'm here.
All right. Well, let's tell everybody goodbye. Hey, when's your next show?
Next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock every Tuesday.
What trucks do you guys have for sale?
Right now, I've got an FLD and a Cascadia. The Cascadia is pretty nice. It's a 2016. It's got 680,000 miles on it. DD15, 10-speed manual. It's a nice truck. 20 grand. I mean, that's cheap. That's cheap.
20 grand.
Yeah,
That's cheap.
yeah.
And you have all the paperwork and everything on it?
Yeah, clear title, everything.
Wow. What's the other truck you got?
It's an older FLD. It's a '98, and we're still building on it. We're not done yet.
So if
It's kind of
somebody
like
wanted it, they could jump in and put other stuff on it if they wanted to
that's
make it
what
better.
everybody always does. They come up there. Can you put this on? Can you put? I want this kind of bumper. I want these stacks. I want a stereo. That's what they do.
Like that red one?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that was nice. I think Jason got that one.
Jason still got it.
He ain't getting rid of that thing. That thing
No,
will be in a box and a hood ornament in the front yard.
he's got it in a Kenworth.
Oh, that's crazy. So they just get a hold of me or you, and I'll get them to you because we
Yeah.
did financing too, right?
No. Well, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I know. We have people we can call and refer them to. I got it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we can help them either way if they're really
We
serious.
can get them some money if they need it, but 20 grand for a truck, that's the cash price because I can give a discount for cash because I don't have to, we're in Kentucky, our shop's in Kentucky. So if we buy and sell commercial trucks, we don't have to collect or pay tax on it. So 20 grand is the cash price. If you want to finance 20 grand, you're in trouble.
You are. I was just saying.
Yeah.
Dude, shit, I have those calls every day. That goes back to business plans. Like, I'm going to spend $15,000 on a truck. Oh, I
Wow.
get it. What are you going to run? Over the road.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
with a $40,000 truck, man, you should stay local.
Yeah. Real local, like your yard.
Yeah.
All
So
right. I'm going to bounce. My egg is ready.
I'm going too.
Peace
Thanks,
out.
Frank. All right, guys. Thanks for hitting it with us. We're about a little over. We try to keep it shorter, but people pop on, people come in. I hope you really love the information in the show. We're trying to help you out. Think about aging. Think about liability. Think about the risk. Think about your money, percentages, reserves, recourse. The shit makes a big deal in your business, and we don't think about it until we have to pay it or we're not getting our money. Why don't we think about this stuff ahead of time? Why are we being proactive? Why are you being proactive? So, that's kind of my topic today was what I like sharing experiences that we run across in real life and bring it to you and make you aware of what you're going to go into or what people are going through that have already been through it. The hurdles of building credit, liability, controlling days to pay, getting paid, understanding percentages when you do these rates. Because if you don't understand what the carrier wants to haul it for, and you don't understand your fees and your cost of operations for a brokerage, just like a trucking company, then you're going to fail. And you're going to fail big. And I think everybody's so caught up on how easy it is to get started and what you don't need to get started, we forget about all the stuff that's risk. Don't you think? Guys, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, but probably next week. Don't forget to check out Jared and Nate at ecarriercheck.com. Their stuff is phenomenal. Their software is great, and they're awesome people. We love them to death over here. And they have demos every week, and they do a live show on YouTube on Fridays at 11 o'clock. So you guys need to start paying attention to that too. They put so much good information on there and have special guests and stuff. Well, don't really watch the special guests, but like some of them, I get it. You have to cater when you have certain kind of products. You have to cater to the industry that feeds your products. You can't be justified to just one. You know what I mean? I understand. So always pick and choose who you work with, pick and choose who you listen to, and look for people that have experience to give you advice, not people that started right after you did it right before. It doesn't work. Look for people like Shane Ferris, Sparky Anderson, Frank, and I can name off so many more. Charles, my friend Eric Wilkes, and then about anybody in that Facebook group over there, like Jeff Ashcroft. Ashcroft. There's just so many. I mean, I'm not even naming them off, but I could. These guys are awesome. They have years of experience. Joe Denny. There's just so more. James Wheeler. Justin. Even Dan. There's so many people. Kyra Myers. They're willing to help. There's so many people in the group. If you just ask, they'll give you advice that's been working their way. They're still here. Maria, multiple Marias. You know what I mean? So, guys, if you have problems with your trucking company, you're not getting where you need to go, you're having problems with compliance, you need help with an insurance renewal, you want help with buying equipment, you need to know what you're doing wrong. take time and set up a one-on-one. If you're using dispatchers right now and you're out there or you're running it yourself and you're just getting caught up, you're not building lanes, you're not building dedicated, you're not getting the customers, well, then call me, James, Justin, and William, and Don, and we will help you do it for you. I mean, you either have a business or you're either doing it, it. I've always been against different parts, but now it's time to be able to build companies. That's what I've always wanted to do. And the only way I can build companies is help be universal all the way around. I get it. And so with me being universal all the way around now, having the dispatching, the brokerage, the compliance company, and the trucking company coming, there's not much that I'm missing with the insurance and equipment. And I really want to be universal. I want to be able to help guys lease on and purchase their trailers so when they want to leave and get their authority. If guys want to lease on and they want to get a trailer, get their own equipment, I want to help them. And then they get their authority and build it up later and still pull our freight. I'm going to build that ultimate wheel that we talked about in all my training classes: customers, trailers, brokerage, compliance, insurance, equipment, residuals, all that stuff. But the only difference between then and now is it's all under Shaggy's. It's all my companies and my teams, my family, my company, Kathy, Isaiah's, Dan, Don, William, James, Justin, Dan. I don't know if I'm missing people. That's a team. And they are super awesome people. They are working like crazy. In September, it'll be a year. 4 of those people have been with me the whole time. 5 have been with me almost the whole time. And we've all sacrificed a ton to build a dream. It's crazy. Like literally, some of them have only been paid by other stuff. They're helping me build it. That's called commitment to the cause. You know what I mean? And I know I could have done it different ways and changed different stuff, but some reason I'm fucked up and I want to build something crazy. I want to build something that has a gimmick that can change the industry. Is there something wrong with that? I want to see James, William, Dan, Isaiah, Allie, Kathy, and Don be able to build something with me to be able to help their family, or maybe later on we build it up and sell it and reward our families. And while we do it, I'm going to keep telling you about us doing it so you can see it, and we're building it, and we're all holding on tight. We're right there with you guys in our new business. We're not making tons of profit, but everything is rolling. We got 50 some odd compliance clients. We're moving 40, 50 loads a month, and we're growing. And we got more customers coming in. We're building up the dispatching, and the MC number just got filed. See, it's all a process, and everything takes time and structure. How are you guys running your business right now? Does it feel like fly by night where it's all running past you and you can't catch up? Or are you dark in a cave where when you look around, it looks like bats staring at you and you're scared as hell because you're so far in? What brick wall do you have that we can help you with? My number is right there on the screen. 812. This is my personal cell phone. I see people crying because they paid for stuff and they can't even get a hold of the person that they thought was going to lead them. Is that you? Or the person that talked you into getting in, your friend? Or the person that told you to invest? Or the one that gave you the great idea that you followed, but now they're not there? Do they answer the phone like we do? Always? Ask anybody. 13 years and I'm still giving out my cell phone number, still answer all the time, and still answer on weekends. Who do you have for you?